From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of evenings in LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. And your CR for stimulus. In this big recording tonight, direct from Santa Monica, California, we go over the recon and its run to the finish line with a series of major economic events happening within hours of now. Boy, just in the last few hours, new concerns about Vladimir Putin and the Ukraine border, new worries about the Federal Reserve raising interest rates in the month of March, new worries about inflation coming in faster because of Omicron. But the CR for stimulus could be the saving grace. The push to get a check into a continuing resolution bill in the month of February, far before a recon could get finished. But that recon has a lot of money in it. And tonight we're going to go over that recon. It's the Build Back Better Act, and it is passed in the House. It is now in the Senate. And the money in there is true deliciousness. We're going to go over all those incredible checks in that incredible recon that starts with at least $15,000 of checks that will be passed in the Senate as well. But it would add in an MSC, it would add in there also and keep in there the at least $45,000 of third stimulus checks. And then we have the question about student loan debt forgiveness. The latest details on that tonight. The latest details on fifth stimulus. Meantime, what's going on with Vladimir Putin and his impact on your wallet if he does invade Ukraine. The latest details on Omicron, its impact on inflation. The latest details about Ron Wyden and Ron Klain. Ron Klain is the president's chief of staff, and why is he causing issues with the fourth stimulus recon going to the finish line? Plus, who do you advocate for that MSC and that CR for stimulus? Tonight we go over all those incredible details. It's a big night with a night in which a lot of major events are happening that could impact your wallet. The Federal Reserve speaking, Vladimir Putin speaking, me speaking, the Flower's not speaking yet because Sirloin's not behind them. Oh, and look, we got some color behind me. I like that. I don't know who did that. Maybe Sirloin ate the wires again. It's a big, bold, beautiful evening, and the excitement starts right here, right now, as Evenings LA heats up direct from Santa Monica, and it starts this evening. Hey, good evening, Nevada. Here we go. The recon passed in the House, now in the Senate. And what does that mean for you? In tonight's recording, we go over all the incredible details across the board on what you need to know for this incredible recon. Frame wars, not so much. CBO report, not so much. But the big news is that the recon will get passed in the Senate, and the big Senate changes will be robust. Well, all those incredible details in tonight's recording, what you need to know with the addition of those checks across the board. It's a big, bold, beautiful, big new Evenings LA broadcast tonight. Third stimulus and fourth stimulus repeated across the board. Student loan debt forgiveness, the latest details on that. Plus fifth stimulus, what do you need to know about that as we go into a big evening? So many issues across the board because guess what? We have a lot going on. We have Vladimir Putin. We have the Federal Reserve. We also have the big question about Ron Klain. Bernie speaking out about the recon. Also Chuck Schumer speaking out about the recon. Boy, we haven't had a night like this in a long time with so much in the news cycle tonight. It's a night like we really haven't seen in a while. And guess what? It is really a mixed bag. I'm going to have all those incredible details for you tonight. I'm excited you're here. And with that, I want you to subscribe. Go right on this video and become part of this channel. LALATE, you're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Evening's Countdown. Then we have at 7 o'clock, home stream stimulus. And then Evening's Extra at 8 o'clock. We got a big slate of programming tonight for you across the board. But we're going to jump right into these incredible checks. 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. Everything you need to know. Get your pen and paper ready. We're going to look at each of these incredible checks one at a time that pay you at least $15,000 of checks out the door. Let's look at each of them, starting with the first of 3 clusters. Wow, it's incredible. Remember, about $15,000 of checks in there. First cluster, here we go. That first cluster has in there the hazard pay, earned income tax credit for one more year for my essential workers, $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children, the Pell Grant, the money to purchase a new electric vehicle, $12,500, the money to repair your home, free if you live in a low-income community, and more. Those incredible details, that's the first cluster of checks. Let's turn to the first add-on of checks. Comes in illustrious Maxine Waters. She's in Southern California. She went and included that money in there to buy your first home. Wow, you're hearing that right. That's money that will be given to the seller from the federal government in your name at the time of escrow. It's incredible. That is the first of 3 add-ons to this incredible clusters of checks. Let's now turn to the second cluster of checks, and it's truly great. In that second cluster, we have home repairs and paid leave. The home repairs is to weatherize your home. The paid leave is a lot of money. If you have to stay home because you're sick or a family member has to stay home because they're sick. How much money? $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. If you make $35,000 or more per year, it's $800 a week. $15,000 a year, $400 a week, up to 4 weeks per year. And yeah, that's about $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. Now, if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, they're going to get the check if they have to stay home for work because of you. W-2, 1099, all that across the board, you all qualify, which brings us to then the second add-on of checks, and the second add-on of checks is incredible, and it comes from Bob Casey, even though it was a Joe Biden campaign promise. What is this? This is $250 billion for the purchase of your first home. Wow. And now, $250 billion for the purchase of your first home. Yeah, you did really well. Congratulations. Those home prices really went up a lot to the thing. $250 billion for your first home. Yeah. I don't know. Where'd you buy? Where did you buy? Palm Beach? No, that's $250 billion, not for just you and that at one house. That is for seniors and people on disabilities, free home health care. Whoa, that was a slip like I've never had a slip before. My goodness, see how things mean a lot different when you say it the wrong way. Then we go to these third cluster checks. Truly delicious, not as delicious as $250 billion to buy a house. The third cluster of checks is money for the free internet and more. In that third cluster we have in there. It's, when you make the mistakes, it's always the funniest part of the whole video. When you get to that third cluster of checks, you got in there the money for the free internet, the money for the workers, the money for the independent contractors, then the cheaper prescription medication. Then the seniors, 2 checks added on the House side, 3 coming on the Senate side, which is par for the course of what we're looking at across the board. Let's look at the differences that you need to know. Well, on the House side, they got in there the Medicaid gap fix and the hearing. The Senate side, they vowed to add 3 more checks, which are dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, which is where a little bit more benefits than checks. Then that's par for the course of when we get to that third add-on of money, because the third add-on is a Senate add-on, and it comes with the words MSC. Yeah, you've heard them, and you know what it is. But I'm going to go over it again. What is an MSC? Who gets it? What is the eligibility? How much does it pay? Everything you need to know across the board, plus the issue of advocacy and everything that's impacting it starting right now. First, what is an MSC? MSC refers to monthly or multiple IRS stimulus check. It is different than the fourth stimulus recon because that recon has multiple checks in there. So this is a program that would be added in there on top of that. That's what distinguishes it with the words IRS, because it's sent out by IRS, where a lot of the other checks in the recon are not sent out by IRS whatsoever. All right, who gets it? Those legislators since the month of May have said individuals who got a third stimulus check will get the fourth stimulus check. Let's go over that eligibility again. Single individual, $75,000 or less annual income, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you get it. Double it. Family of 4, you get it as well. Quadruple it. If you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Rural benefits, you get it as well. Adult dependents would also get it. The fourth stimulus recon check is not income. It's not taxable. It's not state by state. So don't worry if you don't like your state's governor and think he's going to not give you the check. This is money that comes out from IRS. Which then brings us to the question of how much? How much is the MSC? The legislators are represented to tens of thousands of viewers of this channel. It would be $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, for up to 6 months. There you go. That is MSC. Now, what we want to go over next is how it gets done, where it gets done, when it gets done, and then the part of the equation, which is of course important, which is CR for stimulus. Let's go over all those incredible details starting right now. First with where is it? It, the MSC, would be an add-on to the Fourth Stimulus Recon. What is the Fourth Stimulus Recon? The actual name, the formal name, is the Build Back Better Act. It's a body of legislation, a bill, that was passed in the House in the month of November. It is now in the Senate. For something to become a law, it has to be passed by the House. It has. It has to be passed by the Senate. It has not. Then signed into law by the President. It has not. Now, what would normally happen? Once it lands in the Senate, normally it would go to subcommittee. It is not. And during those subcommittees, they would modify the language. That would be happening next. Now, understand that the recon was written in 2011, so it looks like this. I mean, it's literally this thick. It's a lot of provisions, a lot of checks. It has about $50,000 to $60,000 of checks in there for you. Now that's in the Senate, the senators are not going to remove those checks. They're going to add checks in there. And whether it's Bernie or Liz Warren or Chuck Schumer, they all say they have stuff to add into that recon. Good. That would happen during the Senate subcommittee. Like the House, like the Senate subcommittee, the Senate budget subcommittee that Bernie is chairman of, they modify the language. Then we finally have a Senate bill. Now remember, we have a House bill, but we don't have a Senate bill. And senators only look at the Senate bill. They don't look at the House bill. And once we have a Senate bill, then we have it in there. There is no there at the moment because we don't have a Senate bill. Next up, call for a vote on the Senate floor. Then after that, two-day vote-a-rama. Two-day vote-a-rama in which they vote upon changes, further changes to the Senate bill, which is how we go. Now, is there an opportunity to get a stimulus check into something other than the Build Back Better Act, other than the Fourth Stimulus Recon? There always is. And last weekend, I brought up the possibility, the discussion with you, of us advocating for inclusion of a stimulus check into something other than the Fourth Stimulus Recon, something other than the Build Back Better Act that could be seen earlier by the Senate. And you loved the idea. Let's go back a year. No, let's go back 2 years to December 2020, when this channel made history. I made history. You made history. It was the summer of 2020. The pandemic had already been underway for a few months, starting in March of 2020. We had seen Steve Mnuchin on behalf of the Republicans and Nancy Pelosi on behalf of the Democrats negotiating what was supposed to be the second stimulus package. It went on and on and on, and they didn't get it done. Months went on from spring of 2020 to December of 2020, 6 months, looking like the 6 months we've endured now, and they still didn't have it done. So I said, you know what? I'm a little tired of this. I said, there's a deadline coming up, because deadlines help. These people are not really rushed to get it done. Deadline helps the situation. And that deadline in December 2020 was called a continuing resolution. What is a continuing resolution? The federal government has to have money to run itself, to operate the federal government. And that money is funded by continuing resolutions, often as every 6 months. CR is short for continuing resolution, CR. That vote happens often every 6 months. And that time, it was coming up in December 2020. And one morning, one night, I had a very peculiar idea. They have a deadline. They got to do the continuing resolution, otherwise the federal government shuts down. The government never likes to shut itself down. They like to keep itself running. Why not put a stimulus check in a continuing resolution? I said I know exactly who's going to say yes to it. I know exactly who's going to say no to it. So let me go on air and mention to the viewers and tell them the yes and no part of the equation. And viewers loved it. I called it, hashtag CR, the number 4 stimulus altogether. C, Charles. R, Robert. The number 4 stimulus. STIMLUS. I said pick up the phone, advocate, social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Advocate for the inclusion of a stimulus check in the continuing resolution. And I also told viewers, expect for the no part of the equation to come in. I told viewers what the no part of the equation would be. And guess what? Within just minutes, the no part of the equation kicked in. What's the no part of the equation? It doesn't belong in there. It's a continuing resolution budget bill to run the federal government. Money for the government, not for the money for the citizens. Why are you putting a check for the citizens in a bill that's about money for the government? I already had my answer ready. You already had the answer ready because you know exactly what the answer is. They always do bodies of legislation with money in these bodies of legislation that don't belong there. Why not do a check for us that don't belong there, just like you keep on sending money to other places that don't belong in the bill? You had see it during the pandemic. COVID relief bill. It's supposed to be COVID relief, but what's in there? Money going to foreign governments. It's not our money. It's COVID relief. No, it wasn't even COVID relief for foreign governments. It was just money the foreign governments had nothing to do with COVID. We had money to build a new FBI building. We had money to refund the Department of Copyrights and Trademarks. Nothing COVID relief. I said, you historically put stuff into bills that doesn't belong there. Why not put a check in there for us as well? We pushed and we pushed. And then we woke up one particular day and we were told stimulus got into the continuing resolution. We said, yes. And then we listened and we heard, oh no. They said, we're putting an extension of FPC and unemployment benefit stimulus in the continuing resolution. We said, that's really nice, but that's not what we were asking for. We were asking for a stimulus check. And so we pushed again and finally got in there. And then it was removed. And then we pushed again and it stayed in there. And that became history. It became the second stimulus check, the $600 stimulus check that was announced in December 2020. I came up with the idea to put in the continuing resolution. No one ever thought of it. Everyone thought it was wacko. It got in there, and that is where it was paid out of. The continuing resolution of December 2020 was where your $600 stimulus check came from. It never came from any body of legislation from Nancy or Steve Mnuchin. It never came from a stimulus package. It was in a continuing resolution. So last Saturday, I said to viewers, want to do it again? Want to do it again? It's been 6 months. We've been seeing two sides negotiate, different sides this time, not Republicans and Democrats, just Democrats and Democrats, Joe and Joe Manchin and Joe Biden. Why not do it again? Viewers said yes. Why not look at this looming February 2022 deadline of the federal government shutting down if it doesn't have its budget bill done again and say, put a stimulus check in there. Put it in there. Now, let's be frank. We're not doing multiple stimulus checks. We're not doing $60,000 of checks. We're just doing one check. And then we're still staying on point for the fourth stimulus recon right behind it. It's because the fourth stimulus recon's not ready, and we've been waiting patiently, and we shouldn't have to wait any longer. Send out a check right now. $1,200, $2,000, $1,400. Send it out right now. CR for stimulus. Hashtag CR for stimulus. I told viewers, jump in the live chat. Do you like it? Tell me you like it, or tell me you don't like it. Send me a private message. Tell me if you like it, don't like it. Everything lit up. Social media lit up. Private messaging lit up. Everyone said, this makes sense. One check covers us for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then you got your recon done. It makes sense. And there you go. That is the continuing resolution. New comments in from the White House in the last 7 days is the White House's spokesperson, Joe Biden's spokesperson, Andrew Bates, says the fourth stimulus recon will become a law. Great. Another comment from Chuck Schumer in the last 5 days, says the recall will go for a vote. Great. But this is faster. We know the deadline of when the federal government's going to shut down. We know that deadline. Get the check into that. We know that deadline. It is less than 30 days away from now. Now, understand they often extend CRs for, maybe an extra week or extra few days, but they don't extend CRs for 6 months. They extend them for just a few days. Makes sense across the board. Get it in there and get it out. In the second half of this video, we have the importance of all that, but what's also important is for you to advocate, because the advocation is needed for legislators who need to continually know you need something. They're elected to help you and represent your interests, but if they don't know you need something, then they don't know it across the board. Pick up the phone and contact Sanders, Schumer, and the rest of them, who are Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer, saying why you need this money. If you picked up the phone, several weeks ago, pick up the phone again. Speak to the same staffer saying why you need the money. Remember, you're not asking about the money because the there does not exist. We do not have a Senate bill. Just say you need the money. Whatever the provision is that you want in this incredible recon. In the second half of this video, we have so much coming up. We're going to go over what is happening with your wallet and why your wallet will be impacted with this really shocking revelation, which I have been covering for 7 days on this channel, and unfortunately, now it's coming true. The potential invasion of Ukraine by Vladimir Putin and Russian troops. It's impacting your wallet. What else is impacting your wallet tonight? It's a double, triple header. The Federal Reserve and Jay Powell now saying that interest rate spikes will come in March. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, new concerns about inflation continuing in the month of January 2022, where we are right now because of Omicron. That's number 3. Number 4, big concerns about Omicron still disrupting supply chain. We're going to analyze that. And if that's not enough, then we're going to go to number 5, the new questions about Ron Klain, the president's chief of staff, who could be impeding the recon. I'll explain to you what needs to be done by the president immediately about this guy and why this guy is really causing problems for everything under the sky for the recon. It can be fixed, but it's all coming up in the second half of this video. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. I told you, big night with a lot of major news across the board. Stay with me. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as a big evening's highlight continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as evening's LALATE heats up with big concerns about Vladimir Putin and the Federal Reserve all hitting at the same time. The recon will be passed and the Senate changes will be robust. So says the President of the United States. I have the latest comments tonight across the board. Third stimulus will also be reappearing under fourth stimulus. We're adding an additional $45,000 of checks on top of that $15,000. Student loan debt forgiveness, the latest details on that, plus what's going on with fifth stimulus. And then what's happening with that Chief of Staff, Ron Klain, and why it could be impacting your recon. It's a big night with a lot of details with you. I'm excited you're here. Boy, we have not seen a night with so much breaking news that's all impacting your wallet all at the same time. It's a big night. A lot of details, and I'm excited you're here. So go under this video right now and subscribe. 100,000 subscribers. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. It's called LALATE, the fastest, biggest, and most watched channel of its kind in America. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member of Purple Hawk, Purple Barrel Casino VIP, so you get the incredible newsletter. It comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. Sign up for the LALATE alert system, which is under the link to this video as well. Meantime, join me for overnight's Metaverse playing tonight on this channel. There's an opportunity to buy Metaverse crypto cheap in the face of the crypto crash currently going on, and that crash could continue across the board. Coming up next is Evening's Countdown, then Home Stream Stimulus is a brand new show tonight, and then also Evening's Extra at 8 o'clock, a show on the hour, by the hour, and then we go into Evening's Overnight, which LALATE Overnight, which is shows at 9, 10, and 11:30, and here we go into the big second half of this video starting right now. A lot of details, I'm going to zoom through them because I want to get to the check. Stay with me to the very end. So let's go over all these incredible details starting right now. First, Vladimir Putin, Russia, Ukraine. I had featured it for this channel for over a week, and I said there's rumor news. Rumor, markets will go down on the rumor. News, markets may go up or go down based upon whether the rumor is true or false. What's the rumor? You don't know the rumor until you see it, but the rumor would likely be that Vladimir Putin's going to invade Ukraine. And I said, when would the rumor manifest itself? It could manifest itself anytime in the next 3 months, I told viewers of this channel, less than 24 hours ago. No, less than 2 days ago. And that you would see with troop movements, negotiations, press statements, or tanks. Well, guess what we've had in the last 24 hours? All of that. You've had all of that. And it ain't good. It ain't good. There is now big concerns that Vladimir Putin and the Ukraine situation has gone from bad to worse. This, again, is the rumor part of the equation because you don't know the news. We do not know if it will happen or won't happen. And it's impacting the financial markets. How does it impact you? If you're a mom and pop, if you're a retiree, how does it impact you? Everywhere it's going to impact you. It'll impact the gas pump. Ukraine is a major source of petroleum around the globe. It'll impact costs of goods. We're a big importer from goods in Eastern Europe. They import our goods. You'll see things across the board. And the situation may not turn from rumor to news for over 3 months. But the movement and the change of the rumor in the last 48 hours has been astronomical. At the time of tonight's recording, which is taped about an hour before you're watching it, 8,500 U.S.-based troops have now been added to the NATO Response Force, which has now been activated. The NATO Response Force, that's the name of the organization, run by NATO, is 40,000 strong with many nations at hand, comprising both land, air, and maritime and special operative forces. And they're only for rapid emergency crises. And guess what? They view this as a rapid emergency crisis. Yeah, it's not good. 85 U.S. Troops have now been awaited to be deployed. Let me read that again. 8,500 American troops are awaiting orders to be deployed if Russia does invade Ukraine. So, the orders can be rewritten, but the way it looks like at the moment is the troops will not be deployed unless Russia invades Ukraine. Do I think the orders may be revised? I think they could. Press Secretary John Kirby said on Monday that American Special Forces will be put on standby in addition to significant combat-capable U.S. forces that are already based in Europe to, quote, deter aggression and enhance the alliance's ability to defend the allies and defeat aggression if necessary. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has placed a range of units in U.S. In the United States on a heightened preparedness to deploy, which increases our readiness to prepare forces if NATO should activate this special organization. Bottom line, it's troubling. It's troubling. It impacts your wallet. I had told you the concern about the rumor of just this, even if we don't have the news yet, and that the rumor could crash the financial markets. It already took a hit on it today. It already took a hit on it. And we're early into the part of the equation. Also, Vladimir Putin has had these negotiations in the last 24, 48 hours. They have gone really badly. Crisis talks aimed at trying to hold off this event have not gone well. And we have UK Minister Boris Johnson from England, from the UK, saying, you know what? Russia is trying to look at something that would be painfully violent, bloody business and a disastrous step. So it's ramping up very quickly, folks. That's number one. Number two, this one I did not predict because I thought it was out at least 30 more days. So Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell said today in January that the first interest rate spike will come in March. Oh, boy, that is fast. We were just talking about tapering. A week ago? Now we're talking about interest rate spike in March. Now, I always knew it was going to be Q1 2022, but to talk about it now, ironically, U.S. markets were prepared for this news, but I just think it's a lot. That plus Ukraine at the same time. That's a double whammy. The triple whammy is that the Omicron inflationary hit upon this economy is getting more troubling because more people are out sick. And as more people are out sick, Omicron will continue to keep inflation hot. I predicted that inflation would be 8% the month of December, which is last month. It came at 7.5%. If you're at the supermarket, you can gauge this yourself for this month. Look at the price of eggs. Same eggs, same brand, same market, same quantity. If they're going up 10 cents every few days, that's inflation. It's real. Which brings us then to the recon, back to your big money. And which guy is impacting this in a peculiar way? and a not so good way across the board. Detail first on this channel last weekend. His name is Ron Klain. It's Klain. He's the president's chief of staff. As the president's chief of staff, he runs the staff of the White House. He also determines policy. He determines who speaks to the president, when they speak to the president. And he's now to blame for the Fourth Amendment recon not becoming law yet. Why? Several issues. The first one is the easiest to solve, but the second and third is not the easiest to solve. The first one is prioritization. This is easy to solve because you just walk into his office, take all the papers off his desk and throw them in the garbage can, saying you're not doing this until you do the recon. That's pretty easy. Ron, put all this away. What is the stuff on your desk? It's the taco delivery. It's the $12 ice cream delivery service. No, put it away. We're not doing that yet. Put it away. Okay, that's easy. A lot of strange stuff with prioritization of this White House, doing climate the first day coming on in, and guess what? A year later, you don't have climate done. 100 days into this administration, you don't have climate done. You held up everything else for climate. Then we have Brian Deasy, the guy from Yale. Either it's him or Yale. I don't know which one it is. Putting provisions of the recon for unborn people. People who are here aren't eating their money. We don't need to be worried about people who aren't among us. Even ghosts. Well, even if they are amongst us, they're not asking for the money, or at least the haunted ghosts aren't asking for the money. So why are we giving money to people who are just not here yet? It's just very peculiar. Prioritization, not a problem. The second one is a problem. You have Ron Klain spending every waking breath talking to the progressives on the phone and isolating moderate Democrats. Now, understand, Ron Klain is the chief of staff to the president of the United States, who's a Democrat, who is the leader of the Democratic Party. So your number one guy running your office is isolating half of your party? It's, yeah, no. It's like you're having a cocktail party and you hire a caterer, and the caterer opens the front door, even though it's not the job of the caterer, open the front door and says, "Oh, you're the neighbors next door. You're not allowed in." Excuse me, you're just the caterer. I don't care, you're not allowed in. It's just very peculiar. So what happened? Pramila Jayapal bragged in December how she speaks on the phone for hours at a day, every day, to Ron Klain. Isn't he the nicest guy in the world? And at that time I said, I don't like that. Why do I not like that? Because if she's speaking so much on the phone to him, someone else is not able to get through. And that other person or other group of people is the moderate Democrats. You can't isolate moderate Democrats because you're trying to pass the Fourth Amendment recon. You don't have enough Democrats in the Senate who are progressives, let alone Democrats, to get bodies of legislation done without isolating. Now, what is isolating? Isolating would normally be, I talked to Pramila for 5 hours. It was wonderful. Someone else called, no, send them the voicemail. That would be isolating. He's not isolating the moderate Democrats. He is, he's icing out the moderate Democrats. This is what Ron Klain is doing. Pramila, let's just talk for 10 hours tomorrow. Yeah, you want to do it? Yes, do it tomorrow. 10 more hours. Yeah, on the phone. Same time, same back channel. But can you call in 30 minutes after 9? Because I first have to send out a press release going after the moderate Democrats. Calling Joe Manchin every name in the book. Okay, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. That's what he's doing. Ron Klain in the month of December kept on issuing press release after press release going after Joe Manchin. It's just not a way you run an office. I don't care if it's the office of the elementary principal's office or the office of the White House. You don't run an office like this. And I don't know who ever told, I don't know. I don't know where this man thought this is how you run an office. Now, here's something I did not mention throughout some of the other shows the last 24 hours, but I want to mention it right now. There's a series of reports that says the president can't get rid of Ron Klain because there's no good alternative available, and that the other alternatives are actually worse. How much worse? Can we get a rundown? So it doesn't look good. Now then we have the Republicans. The Republicans, he just sends a voicemail. They call in, send them a voicemail. Just hang up the phone. You know if the Republicans call it, you know what you do? Hi, oh, is this a Republican? I can't hear you. The reception's going out. The cell reception's going out. Do you ever do that with someone? I bet you've done that with. You fake the cell reception's going out. Whenever there's a Republican, that's basically what Ron Klain is doing. He's faking the cell reception's going on, and you don't do this. Now, the Nancy Pelosi school of legislation is to basically always look aligned, look like you are a unified family. And Ron Klain, his approach is the antithesis. And guess what? It ain't working. You want Nancy Pelosi to come right in there and say, Ron, here's a $12 ice cream, because you're not doing this right. You're taking one group of Democrats, going after another group of Democrats. Nancy would never do this. Ever do this. This is the opposite of how Nancy runs the House. And guess what? The way she does it has worked. All throughout 2020, remember the Blue Dog Democrats? They sent that letter to Nancy saying, you got to extend FPUC. She said, there's a letter? There's a letter. They have my number. They can call me directly. I'll send a limo to them. They can pick me up. I'll bring them to lunch. And then, probably she goes off air and says, I hate them. But she never says that on air. She keeps it herself. She keeps it herself. And that's why everything looks like everyone gets along, even maybe they don't. Ron Klain literally is like setting bonfires everywhere. It's just awful. Third thing with Ron Klain that's really a problem is that he is keeping the president isolated. And by keeping the president isolated, he's also keeping himself isolated. The president of the United States last Friday, I think it was, said something I can't imagine Joe Biden would ever say. He said, I need outsiders to give me insight as to how we should get stuff done. Another round this week. New member, never got the money before, you can get it right now. Get that pen and paper out. If you're not a member, get the newsletter out. And if you're not a member, subscribe and become a member right now. The membership link is under the video. We're first going to get rent, utilities, mortgages, and more. First, rent. How much can you get? A lot. You can get rent, and you can get that rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. Where do you get it? 6 places. You ready? Here you go. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, and State House Authority. The key words you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Rent or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. Where do you get this money, and what do you need to know? First, you want to reach out to all the 6 places. Number 2, you want to make sure you get application on file everywhere. And finally, number 3, you want to get multiple rounds. More about those rounds in a second. Mortgage assistance, reach out to all your utility companies. Utility assistance, reach out to all your utility companies and get utility assistance because of COVID. Then I want you to get multiple items. So don't just get one item, get 3 or more. Art Sullivan Nisi showed us that way back in fall of last year. All right, now let's turn to the rounds. This is very, very important. Rounds is referring to a duration and how far out. So when third stimulus became law in January 2021, some people got a round at the time. And that round was likely, January, February, March. Last summer, people got another round. So that may have been August and September. Then people got another round last month. So that was likely November, December, January. This round, I want you to get as far out as possible. So try to go to May. Can't get to May, bring it to April. Get as many months as possible first. Number 2, start with the organization you got the money from before. If you got money before, if you just found this channel, welcome. Go over the 6 places I feature on this channel. But if you got money from that organization before, reach out to them. They say they're out of money, then reach out to another organization. Lean on the nonprofits because they're refunded with those funds, sums of money, because it's a new year. The 6 nonprofits are featured in the membership newsletter. We want to turn to student loan debt forgiveness as a fifth stimulus for just a blink of an eye, and then I want to come back to this other big money that you need to know. Student loan debt forgiveness, there's a $10,000 offer on the table. The Democrats should take it. Then, fifth stimulus. Your fifth stimulus COLA benefits. How does this impact things across the board? Let's go over it. COLA was announced in December of last year for your benefits this year. COLA was announced as 5.9%, which means your first check you get for SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits will be 5.9% more this January 2022. But it's not just this month, it's every month thereafter. Once your benefits go up, they never step down. Fifth stimulus looks to come back behind that and say, okay, that's good for now, but it ain't good long term. You need more money. It wishes to raise your benefits up one big time, get you caught up, then remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty, and also remove COLA and have a new benchmark, inflation. Wow. That is how fifth stimulus works. Now, let's bring it all, rope it back together, and go over those comments by Bernie that came in less than 48 hours ago. Bernie Sanders said that he was happy about last week because votes were called, and ultimately we learned where things landed. Do you agree? Jump in the live chat right now. If it's better to call a vote than not call the vote. This is where we're looking at Nancy again, Nancy versus Bernie. Nancy's approach to legislating is don't call a vote, because if something fails, it sends a bad image. This is different when we're talking about the Ron Klain situation. Here, Nancy would never call the vote if something's going to fail. She'd say, just don't call the vote unless it passes. Bernie disagrees on this one, and I do too, and I think you do as well. It's good to call the vote for 3 reasons. 1, you call the vote and your fellow Democrats vote against it, then you know who to blame, and you know who to go to. And more importantly, you know how to change it, because you can call the vote again after you change it. Number 2 is the Republican part of the equation. You want the Republicans to vote against it, because if they do, there's a record. They did not want to help the people that were part of that bill. So that is where we are teed up with the forced stimulus recon. Now, with that forced stimulus recon, Joe Biden has made very clear through Andrew Bates and those new comments that he wants to send out this money right away. Number 2, the comments from Joe Biden last Friday sort of signals he's having problems with Ron Klain. If you don't even need Joe Biden to have those comments, understand that, because if your administration is not getting bodies of legislation passed, popularity is falling, and there's news articles in political publications saying the chief of staff is not looked upon well, and you have mid-level staffers in the White House quoted in the article off the record saying Ron Klain is not doing it well, doing it right, then you know you have a problem. Joe Biden is pretty good on fixing things and really good at perceiving things ahead of time. So I hope he's perceived this as well. Number 3, CR for stimulus is really helpful at this point of the game because we have all these strange events going on. One thing I want to make brand new clear tonight on Evenings LA. Haven't seen the question, but I know my viewer. And I got these type of questions a lot in 2020. In 2020, every time there was a missile launched out of China, every time there was a missile launched out of China, someone said, oh, they're not going to do our stimulus because he's worried about China. So I expect someone to say, we're not going to get our stimulus because Biden's worried about Russia. No. They're different things. They do more than one task at a time. So I want you to be prepared to, if you're in the live chat, to say, no, that's not the situation. The situation economically is very problematic because you have cryptocurrency crashing. You have Russia potentially invading Ukraine. You have the Federal Reserve announcing interest rate spikes. You have Omicron inflation really not good and not under control. And then you had the original cause of inflation still sitting there. And we were hoping to have maybe one bad economic element in this economy at a time. And suddenly we have 4 or 5 all really manifest themselves in less than 48 hours. It's a lot. And one of my concerns is the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve always said that they're sort of loose and free. So if they have to pivot, they can pivot. Well, you got Omicron inflation, which is adding to the additional inflation. So you need to move with the Federal Reserve. You need to do more. But then we have the Putin part of the equation. And then we have a lot of these other twists and turns. So it is going to be a very, very dense week. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns across the board. The great news is the focus by the president, the guy behind your money, is absolutely on point. We've been doing this for a while, and we always wondered if the number one guy at any particular point was on message with you and I. And the president's on message. Recon will get done. Recon must get done. Recon should get done as soon as possible. That's all you can ask. Now, you can hope he does a little bit more. You can hope he maybe fires Ron Klain. You can hope he maybe gets Vladimir Putin to calm down. You can hope that the Federal Reserve has it right. And I think it does have it right for inflation. But along the way, we have a lot of other stuff to cover. And with that, I'm excited you're with me throughout tonight. Coming up next is Evening's Countdown at 6 o'clock. Home Street Stimulus is a brand new show tonight at 7 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, we have Evening's Extra. And then at 9 o'clock, 10, and 11:30 is our revamped Overnights LALATE. We're back at 3 and 3:30 with our new shows called Sunrise LALATE. Early Mornings LALATE heats up at 4 o'clock, and then we're back at Mornings LALATE Countdown at Early Mornings LALATE at 4 a.m., Mornings Countdown at 7 a.m., and Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. And with that, subscribe. At 400,000 subscribers, I want you part of this channel, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. Like this video and consider becoming a member. I know there was a lot in this video. If you want to rewatch it, please do, or join me next on the next evening show. It'll automatically take you into that video. And I'll cover more about these individual checks as a credible recon. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.